Hello YouTube, this is Royal Mix Gaming, and today we're going to go over the crystal tech and what kind of researches you should do and kind of what you should be doing once you land in the Lost Kingdom. Because just last night, for me at least, we dropped into this Lost Kingdom with a couple different kingdoms here, and I'm going to show you what you should be doing when you're doing your crystal tech, like depending on how much you're going to be spending and things like that. If you're going to be spending things like that, you know. So I'm going to go ahead and navigate to a couple of infographs that I have. So we're going to start off with free-to-play. If you want to take a look at this, I'm going to leave it on the screen while I talk about it. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to drop both your crystal mine and your crystal mine in your research center. Both of them. And you're going to slowly upgrade them. When you're upgrading the mine, if you're free-to-play, getting it to 25 is going to be very difficult if you don't have a lot of crystal when you start off. Level you'd probably want to shoot for that's not too expensive, but you're going to get crystal is probably like level 21, something like that. If you think you have the crystal, you got crystal extra, and you think you can have enough for, like, you need to have at least, like, I don't know, 1 million or so, 500,000 to probably closer to 1 million for researches, to try and get as much as you can for Pass 4. And you can work on the mine later on once you're after Pass 4, but you want to work on your research a lot, mostly because you need the tech to be able to even fight. Pass 4 is not too big a deal. You don't want to harm yourself too much for later on, but you don't want to also not have any tech at all for Pass 4, so you need at least a little bit. That's not a lot, but it still help you, you know. So I'd recommend like level 21 roughly for your mine. Give or take some, kind of depends on your best of ear, you know. If you think you've gotten too deep into it, and just stop that and work on your research center. Your research center is probably going to be like level 16, something like that for Pass 4. Maybe a little bit lower, maybe like 12. Not exactly sure what level you'll need it. I'm slowly working on my alt. I'm not really speeding it up, so I'm not exactly sure what the cutoff is, but it's got like 12 to 16 is roughly where you'll have to be for most of this stuff in the free-to-play tech. Kind of just depends on how much crystal you have, kind of thing, how many barbs you do, and things like that. Like I said, you know. For Pass 4, you won't have a lot of tech, so it's not too big a deal. But just make sure you're getting your mine and stuff at least halfway leveled up. And then you need to kind of stop for a little bit and actually work on the research so you have crystal left over. So like I said, 500,000 to 1 million crystal probably to work on your research. Kind of depends on how much you're wanting to invest in this stuff, you know. So how you're going to start it, you're going to get all the first ones here at the top. Cav, infantry, archers, and siege to 1. You're going to get, after that, swift marching to 1. The next one down by itself. And you get all the other ones to 1. The cultural exchange, I think it's like your city reinforced in the middle there, and then like treaties or something like that on the left or right. I don't remember which one's which. You get all those to 1. You're going to push your way towards skill for operations 1. Since you're free to play, would not recommend maxing out the the skill for operations to 5 necessarily. You're going to want to get all those at the bottom to 1 first off. To get some of those to 1, you may have to go back to the first ones. So like you can go, you're going to want to get your treaties and your cultural exchange up to 5 though, for your bastions. So once you've kind of gotten like either all these ones near the bottom to like 1, you're going to want to work on your treaties and your cultural exchange. By then you may start to run out of crystal. It kind of depends on how much crystal you have. Then you're going to want to work back towards the first researches. You're going to get all those to 5, except for the siege. Don't bother with the siege. Try not to click on it. You're going to want to try and get all those to 5, those first 3, cav, infantry, and archers. If you're even more stingy and you like only have 1 troop that you use, or you're only cav focused, then just max the cav and ditch the rest. Kind of depends on your perspective, you know. Then you're going to want to work on the swift marching. I think you have to have it 5, so you can do treaties 5 out of 5, I think is what this says. You know, thank you for making this infograph. The person's name is at the top. I'm just trying to share it and kind of talk about it. So you want to, once you get Swift Marching to 5, you can get your treaties and probably Culture Exchange to 5. You want to get a little bit of Barb Tech, but not too much. Once you've gotten pushed past this stuff, most of this is going to take you probably at least past Pass 4. So your main goal for Pass 4 is to get those first 3 things to 5. And like I said, if you're 1 troop type or 2 troop types, just max those 2, and maybe you'll have a little bit extra to get further into Culture Exchange or treaties. You want to make sure those are as high as you can get them, Culture Exchange and treaties, as high as you can get them before you start doing bastions, because you get more crystal and more favor. It's always better for that to have those higher. One other thing is if you get the plunder, which is at the bottom right here, the guy with the sword, you don't have to do your cars till the very day before or so, till Pass 4 or Pass 7. I would recommend you don't do them till the last last day, your cars that you get from bastions, because if you can level that up, it's more crystal over time, and every crystal counts when you're free to play. Because my alt is basically a free to play account, and it is not going to have much crystal, and I'm just going to be working on Cav on that one. But it's a good idea to do that and stuff like that. If you have more crystal after all of this and you've gotten stuff done, still wouldn't recommend maxing the Skillful Operations 1 unless you have to. If you have enough crystal, you might want to max it so you can keep going on. You probably have to max it at some point, but it gets a little expensive if you're going to be maxing it out. If you have more crystals, then you can, but it's kind of, you don't want to put too much into it because you're not going to have a lot of crystals to begin with, so it's not really going to reduce anything if you don't have any. Okay. So the next one we're going to work on too is the low spender tech. This tech is basically like if you buy the the $5 for the crystal mine and most of the pop-ups. I don't know if this is for if you buy all the pop-ups or not. It might be, but it might not be. Kind of depends on your ear, like I said. But you're going to start out the same. You're going to get all the first ones to 1. Your crystal mine and your research center for a low spender. If you're going to be buying all the pop-ups, but none of the mountain warfares, you'd probably want to be maxing your crystal research center and maxing out your crystal mine first. Most likely you hope that your kingdom pops a research buff, so that once you work on the research and stuff, you can do that. But you're going to get both of those to 25 because you're going to need them for all the other benefits that they give you and stuff like that, because you're going to have enough crystal. If you buy all the crystal bundles when they pop up, you're going to have 10 million crystal roughly, give or take, depending on what you're upgrading and how you do it and things like that. But once you get to the research, you're going to get all the first ones to 1 again, Swift Marching to 1, and you're going to push all the way to Skillful Operations 1, and work on getting it to 5. You're going to have the encampments, which is the middle one on the 3rd row on the left side here. You're going to have that 5. You're going to have Switch Marching to 5. So you're going to have to kind of come back and do some of the barb tech. And you have to have the healing tech or the eyeglass here at the bottom. That's the 4th row on the left. I think you have to have that 5 before you can get the Skillful Operations to 5. But you want to get the Skillful Operations 1 to 5 as fast as possible. Once you have that done, make sure everything else is at least 1. And if you think you're going to have a lot of crystal left, you should still have 8 million crystal by then. At least that's where I'm at in my tech. You can either push towards the Skillful Operations 2. Might be a little expensive to do that, but you're going to get the reduction in cost. Or you can go back and do all these other ones to 5. Everything but the siege. Max out the Swift Marching if you haven't already. You may have had to already. Max out your Cultural Exchange and your treaties for sure, 100% before you're working on your bastions. Some of the other barb tech, you may be able to skip a little bit of it, but you might have to have it at 4 out of 5 or something like that. Plunder and stuff, try to unlock it and work on it before you do your cars. Like I said, try to have that 5 before Pass 4 so you can do all your cars the day before. And then once you're working through these, you can get the overall damage at the bottom there on the left side in the middle. You get that to 3 or 4 out of 5. And then start pushing towards Skillful Operations 2 if you want. Otherwise, you can basically one-shot all these and get all the part 2 to 1, the top there, get all those to 1, get Swift Marching to 1 on the right here, get some of these other ones to 1, and push towards Skill for Operations 2. You're going to have like something Swift Marching 2 to like 3 or 5 or something like that, and push towards Skill for Operations and get that to like, I don't know, depending on how much money you're going to spend, you can get that to like 7 out of 10. I wouldn't recommend maxing Skill for Operations if you're not going to buy any Mountain Warfares. So then what you're going to do once you have it to like 7, 5, like 6 or 7, something like that, kind of depends on what you think you're going to, once you see that much crystal is going to cost you, you may kind of consider not doing it, because it's only like 0.5% to 1%. And it's going to cost you like 200,000 or 300,000 once you start getting into like the 6 and 7 range. So you kind of have to play it by ear and what you think you're going to be able to use. So don't make it 10 unless you're going to be buying all the bundles, because that's not worth your crystal if you're going to do that. Same thing with like free to play. Don't max the first one if you're not going to be, if you don't think you're going to have enough crystal, because you're going to basically waste it on this. First one for a low spender though, which is like $100 probably, give or take, is definitely worth the max 5, because you're going to have to get through all this other stuff on the right here. But you're basically just going to keep getting Skill for Operations up to like 6 or 7, and you're going to work back on these part 2s. The infantry, cav, and archers mostly is what you're going to mostly work on, and getting the culture exchange and treaties on the middle lane here on the 3rd row down, on the left and right at the edges there. You want to get those to 10 if you can, because when you're working on bastions and stuff, you're going to finish them faster, get the skill unlocked faster. You're going to get more crystals. That's a major thing from Bastion Quest, that you want to do all your, I think it's like 15 a day. You want to make sure you're doing all of those. Get those to 10 as fast as you can. And then once you have some of that stuff done, you're going to work on your part 2s to like, I think it's like 6 or 7, something like that. And then you're going to start pushing to your part 3s. And once you get your part 2s to 10, you probably have your part 3s to like 5 or something like that. It kind of depends on how much crystal you're going to have, because slowly but surely, if you're not buying any crystal bundles for this low spender tech, I don't think that you're going to be buying the Mountain Warfares for this, just by the tech if it's not going to show you the part 3s. So if you aren't buying those, then you're going to want to try and get your part 2s to 10, and work on your part 3s slowly, because you're going to run out of crystals by then. So just to recap on this one, make sure you're getting your culture exchange and treaties to 5 out of 5 and 10 out of 10. That's a big one. Make sure you max out your cultural, your Skill for Operations 1 to 5, and work on your most of your like fighting tech as you can as you go. Don't worry about the barb tech, especially for Pass 4, too much. Only do it if you have to do it for a prerequisite technology. Make sure you get your plunder to a decent spot before you do your Gahars and things like that. That's the main things that you want to be working on for this low spender tech. Take pictures of these as I go through them, or ask me. I'll show you my kingdom and stuff if you want to see it or have it. I can share it if you need it. So then for mid spender tech is probably going to be your buying your Mountain Warfares. At least part of them. It kind of depends how much you're going to get. I would classify this mid spender to high spender, because it shows the all damage tech and things like that. And the 6 and 7 marches. Same thing for this as every other one. You're going to get all the first ones to 1. Work on pushing towards Skill for Operations 1, getting that to 5. You have some prerequisites like the city garrisoning thing. You have to have that like 5, and then the Swift Marching 1 to 5, things like that. Again, like I haven't mentioned. You're going to then push to Skill for Operations 2. If you're a mid-spender, you're buying the Mountain Warfares, you want to get the Skill for Operations more like 7 or so, 7 to 8. Probably I think 7's the max before you have to have your second ones maxed out, something like that. You can kind of read this infograph if you kind of want a better explanation of some of the little things, you know. But you're going to work on getting Skill for Operations 2 to like 7, maxing all your second ones to like 7 again. Working on your part 3s, getting those to like 5 out of 10, I think it's what it is. And you're going to want to get your healing costs as much as you can. If you play on the field fight a lot, you want to get the reduction in healing. To have the reduction in healing, you're going to have your, like, part 3s to, like, 5 out of 10. Some of your swift marching and, like, things like that, you're going to have, like, 7 out of 10 at the max, once you start working on those. For the 6th March, you're going to have most of your stuff done. Not everything has to be done, but I think you have to have, like, all your part 2s done, all your part 3s to, like, 7 out of 10, and all of your part 1s have to be done. Everything but maybe the all damage at the bottom middle there, that you had to have done. I'm going to scroll in real fast here and just kind of look at this side here. Troop capacity, you're going to want to work on getting as much as you can. Some of this you're going to have prerequisites for, things like that. But definitely get the swift marching. You're going to have the 7 out of 10, most likely, to get your healing cost and for all these and all damage. If you're going to be maxing out all the crystal bundles, you're going to want to work towards your all damage, mostly at the bottom left here. That's the not the second to bottom row on the left here, the, like, sword, the gold colored one. You're gonna want to work on getting that to, like, as high as you can. Like, if you're gonna go for 7 March, you have to have it 10 out of 10, but you're gonna want it to be like 6 or 7 probably for a decent tech, something like that. And to get it to like 7 or something, you're gonna have pretty much everything behind it maxed out. If you're planning on getting 6 marches, you have to have, like I said, everything like 7 out of 10 at least. And you're going to want to prioritize, if you're field fighting most of the time, your healing and your troop capacity here in the middle. There's going to be 3 and a 2, I think, here at the bottom here. These purple ones with the shields, guys, in the middle here. You're going to want to get those as high as you can if you're going to be field fighting a lot. But for mid-spender to high spenders, you're going to have most of the crystal for this. It's just going to be making sure you do the first parts right so that you have crystal later. Because if you go and, like, max all the first 1 to 5 and burn a lot of crystal without saving some later on, it's going to hurt you a little bit. If you don't have your treaties and stuff maxed out and your cultural exchange, it's going to hurt you. If you're not doing your bastions every day, it's going to hurt you. If you spend a lot of money, it doesn't matter, but you can save some money if you're doing it correctly, and doing it in a good order, like I've kind of stated on this infograph, and with getting things to, like, first 1 to 5 and your second one to, like, 7, things like that. Maxing out the treaties and cultural exchange to 5 out of 5 and 10 out of 10. You're going to want to do that so you get as much crystal from bastions as possible. Make sure you're doing those every day. Make sure you have all the bastions unlocked by pass 4. At least the ones that you can have access to, have them all unlocked so you can fight with whichever ones are the most useful for you. And then work on the healing cost and the troop capacity and the stats for part 3 as much as you can. Depends how much money you're spending, depending on how far you get, for 6 and 7 marches and for all the other tech. That's mostly what this video is about, is your tech. Like I said, if you need the infograph, let me know in the comments or look where I'm at. But that's mostly what this video is about, just kind of talking about your tech and what you should be getting your crystal mine and research centers to once you start out, things like that. So for, like, me, just real fast, so before I end this here, I'm working on getting to cultural, or to skillful operations 2 to 1, so I'm working on getting swift marching to 3. Kind of left all these at 1, got skillful operations 1 to 5, left all these other ones at 1. Like I said, you're going to have like barb tech to 5 and larger camps to 5 for most of this if you're going to be pushing towards skillful operations 2. And even getting skillful operations 1 to 5, you had to have this maxed, and I think you had to have this at 3 of 5. But I've left everything else at 1 for now, because what I'm going to do is get the skillful operations 2, get it to like 6 or 7, and then come back and do all this stuff, because it's going to save me a little bit at the end. Like I said, depending on how much you're spending, you may make it like 5 or 6, because it's only going to get worse as you go higher in it, because it's going to cost you a lot once you get further into it. That's mostly what this is about. Like I said, I have these at 25, both of these, but this is my coordinates, this is my alliance, in the top right here. You can just look at me for ZT16 if you need the infographics themselves. Hope you guys enjoyed this, learned a lot about it. If you have any questions, leave a comment, drop a like if you liked it. reach out to me in this kingdom and the Lost Kingdom and this alliance if you're wanting to get the infographics or anything like that, or have questions yourself. Hope you enjoyed the video and have a nice day.